As I was doing my studies, I discovered something called the Hammer Effect. No, I'm not talking about MC Hammer. The Hammer Effect is a form of brainwashing that they use. And what the Hammer Effect stands for is when you're being overwhelmed by bits and pieces of information. It's like a constant flow of information being pushed through your head at a constant rate. You have to take up psychology, and then you will understand what the Hammer Effect means. See, the definition of the Hammer Effect is what they use in the media every day. Now I'm starting to realize how they do it. This is the reason why I went into my studies and I discovered what the Hammer Effect was. It's me constantly giving you the same information over and over and over and over again. Like the hammer. Just like when you're banging on that nail constantly. You're constantly banging, you're constantly banging, you're constantly banging. So basically, eventually, even though that information not might be true, even though that information might not be true, eventually you're going to believe it. Eventually you're going to soak it in, and eventually it's going to become a part of your psychosis. See, this is what they do to us every day. And I started to see, and I said, no wonder we as black people believe most of the things they tell us. No wonder we have black people making videos about black people. No wonder we have such a strong movement of this self-black hate going on. Now I'm starting to realize why. Because these images, are constantly put in your face at a fast rate. So the Hammer Effect is being used in TV, media, and radio every day. Don't you notice on the radio they play the same 10 songs over and over again? See, the more I started to learn about this Hammer Effect, I'm starting to see it in this physical form. I'm starting to actually see it in the radio stations, on the TV. The same commercials playing over and over and over again. Now I want you to look at these images I'm about to show you about black people. And they're going to come at a fast rate. So let's see if this works. I'm going to give you these images, these negative images of black people at a constant rate. So here we go. As you see, the Hammer Effect is in effect. And this is what they do to us on an everyday basis. If you notice, these images are of all black people. And don't you notice that you always see these images constantly playing over and over and over again in your head? So no wonder we are kind of messed up in some ways. No wonder we have self-hate and coonery going on YouTube. No wonder we have people that believe that black people are bad. No wonder some black people even believe they're bad. Now I'm starting to understand what this Hammer Effect is. Now what we're going to do the same effect. But this time I'm going to use Caucasian people. And I'm going to give these images to you at a fast rate. Now I want you to tell me if these images were constantly playing on TV, which they're not. Like you say, you might see it one time and then it's gone. So I'm going to give you these pictures that you're seeing right now. And you see they're coming at a fast rate. Now think in your mind, if you were seeing this on an everyday constant basis, what would you think about white people? If this was all you seen on TV, constantly playing over and over again, Eventually, might start to believe that, hey, man, white people are pretty violent. White people are pretty bad people. See, and this is the same effect that they use on black people. That's why every time you look on the TV screen, you see these images constantly playing over and over and over again. And this is how they not only brainwash us, but this is how they brainwash society in believing that we're bad people. And if you're not careful, even you as a black person will start to believe that we're bad people. Because see, the hammer effect is in effect. And when you have these images constantly playing over and over in your head, eventually you're going to start to believe it. And they know this. And they have prestigious scholars and teachers and people that teach psychology that are teaching this method to the military and to the media, to you against you, the black person. And this is why we are so bombarded by these stereotypes. And this is the reason why we also believe in our own sickness at times. I remember when I was younger and I used to always see these images, I used to think that's the way it really was. But as I got older, I started to realize, and as I discovered, what the hammer effect is and what the intention of the media was. So what you see in these images is not always true. But when you bombarded by them constantly, beating you over the head with these images constantly, not only you, but America is seeing these pictures and images of black people constantly playing over again. Eventually, you're going to start to believe it. Eventually, self-consciously, you're going to start to believe that it's true. And that's what makes it all the more worse. Like, subscribe. 1.